Welcome back to Soniagogy Integration Academy. I'm Chewy. This is the dojo of the mind, where we don't force change here. We learn to guide the system through awareness and repetition. So before we meet the pack, let me explain why. Why dogs? So this didn't come from a book idea. This came from me hitting a wall. I was struggling in my relationship again. I kept having the same patterns, the same arguments, the same emotional reactions, and I couldn't understand why. And there were different situations, but we had the same very ending every time. I got tired of it. And I got tired of the situation that I kept putting myself into. I got tired of showing up the same way, tired of repeating what I already knew. So I looked in the mirror and I finally saw the common denominator, me. I thought in that moment, I must be broken. And then something in me said, wait a second. I can only control me, and I am responsible for my responses. I finally got it. I finally understood what that meant. Doesn't matter what they do. It's everything that I do that I'm responsible for. So I could say they trigger me. That is still my responsibility. My trigger isn't their responsibility. That's mine. And you have to understand, this wasn't motivation. This was from frustration. I was done living the same loop. So I stopped trying to figure her out. I started to figure myself out. So I started by observing me, just like I was observing my dog. And what helped me see it, of course, was my dog. I noticed how my dog responded to me, not my words, not my state. If I was tense, he kept space. If I was calm, he relaxed instantly. If I was excited, he would match it. If I would be dancing in the kitchen and he would be at my feet wanting me to pick him up to dance. He was a funny dog. But if I raised my voice, he dropped his head, lowered his shoulders, and then he tucked his tail down. His body was reacting to me the whole time. He had been reading me. He's not listening to my words. He doesn't understand what I'm saying. Maybe a few phrases here and there. But let's go back. My energy was shaping his behavior, not my words, my state. So I asked myself something simple. My energy affects my dog. What am I doing in my relationship? And how do other people's energy affect me? Example, my wife would come home overwhelmed. She had a long day at work, watching the grandkids, traffic, everything hitting at once. She comes in the door. She needs a break, but she doesn't say those words. I just feel, I see her face expression. I see the tension. I see frustration as she comes up the door. It comes in the door. And without noticing, I was absorbing it. Her stress became my tension. Her overwhelm became my reaction. And then I responded like it was mine. It was never mine. I caught myself thinking, well, wait a second. How does this even happen? So I studied it. I researched, I learned more, and what I learned, I practiced until I figured out what was going on. And here's what I figured out. We're not just thinking beings. We are reacting systems. What we call personality is practice patterns. So when people say, this is who I am, I understand why that feels real to you. But what you're describing is conditioning, not identity. And that's where the dog metaphors came in, because I saw this in myself first. And then I saw it in my friends, people I would come in contact with, and then my clients at the time. We all shift into different states. Sometimes they're calm and grounded, other times they're reactive, and people are a little sharp with their tongue in this point. Sometimes overthinking every freaking thing, shutting down completely. So different states, the same person. So I stopped calling it personality and I started calling them dogs. Why? Each dog has its own personality. Different dogs have different behaviors, different responses, and guess what? All of them were trained over time. And depending on the moment, one of those dogs grabbed the leash. And that's why I wrote my book, who's walking who, training your subconscious before it drags you over the cliff. Now, understand this. I'd be outside or walking on the street and I would see people on their phones being pulled by their dogs. They're not even paying attention to what's going on. Their dog is in charge. The dog pulls over to go to the bathroom. The dog sees a squirrel and it drags. While they're busy on their phones, they're just ignoring what's going on, everything around them. I would see couples together. Again, both of them on their phones. And guess what? The dogs are leading them. Who's walking who? So I realized what it felt like. I wasn't leading, I was being pulled. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it anymore. So in this series, Meet the Pack, and this is where you see your patterns. This isn't about labeling you. This is about adding more labels to all the labels you may have given yourself, right? Or it's not to judge you either, but to help you see clearly, because once you see it, you can begin working with it. You can train it. You can lead it. So stay curious as we go. You're going to recognize yourself in these dogs. And when you do, that's awareness. And awareness, practice over time, becomes control. So the real question isn't what's wrong with me. Better question is, which dog just grabbed the leash? Subscribe, follow along, share with someone who feels like they've tried everything. And remember, this isn't about fixing yourself quickly. This is about training yourself for real life when the moment hits. This is Soniagogy, the dojo of the mind, where we move from knowing to doing to being. So in the next episode, we begin to meet the pack. Until next time, be well and take care.